I'm Mark Greenstein. Welcome. We are on a section, going to just do two of the questions from Test 2. Khan Academy, College Board have this. And if you have the big official SAT study guide, that's even better. Test 2 in this book shows up at page 416. I'm going to give you time you need, pause, read it if you have not read the passage yet, then turn us back on. All right. I want to do two questions. They're at page 417, numbers 5 and 6. And 5 requires a good knowledge of vocabulary. There's some tough words in the answer choices, and this is what we at Ivy Bound always want to make sure of. That vocabulary is not what beats you. I mean, it's hard enough to grapple with passages, especially one like this from 1857. So it's in the answer choices that we care about vocabulary. The text itself, there's so many tough words, and a lot of them are antiquated. We're not concerned. But use your thesaurus when you encounter a tough word in a question or one of its 4 answers. And here's 4 tough words. Number 1, scorn, in choice B, number 5. Scorn means feeling angry. Number 2, humble. Now, humble means of meek demeanor. You're not bragging. But there's another humble, and it's related. When it here says humble background, they actually mean not well off. Okay? The narrator is not rich. We know this because he's working to be a tradesman. So even back in the day when tradesmen, even today, tradesmen make a good living, but they're not so well born that they don't need to work. They're not trust fund babies, and that's why humble applies. The next word that's tough, indignation, means anger, and then the word rash. Now, we're not referring to a rash that is on your skin that you have to scratch. Rash here means hasty. All right. Well, none of those words are part of right answers. The right answer is D. The passage indicates that Edward Crimsworth, be careful, Edward Crimsworth's behavior was mainly caused by his D, jealousy of the narrator's apparent superiority. Now, this is interesting because we just said that the narrator has a humble background, but he carries himself in a sophisticated way. And here's why we know that D is right. In line 44, it says, had I been anything inferior to him, he would not have hated me so thoroughly. So he's not inferior to Crimsworth. Crimsworth perceives him as of an equal status or maybe even better than him. That's what's causing antipathy. Antipathy means anger, dislike. Now there's even more support. Look at line 38. My southern accent annoyed him. The degree of education evinced in my language irritated him. So there is some elements of the narrator's background that bother his boss. And by the way, southern in England of that period probably implies a more sophisticated area than northern parts of England. In the U.S., southern is thought of as more down home, if anything, not as sophisticated. But that's not the case when you're looking back a century and a half ago. So, this is a narrator who, though humble, is well enough educated or carries himself well enough that it intimidates the boss, Edward Crimsworth. Now to number 6. I'm going to give you the right answer. It's B. And it's not easy to find support, but it's clear once you get there. The passage indicates that when the narrator began working for Edward Crimsworth, he viewed Crimsworth as a B, sympathetic ally. How do we know this? Look at line 61. I had long ceased to regard Crimsworth as my brother. That means at one point he did regard Crimsworth as brother, and that would imply ally. I know some brothers always hate each other, but usually they're allied. So it's a very good support if you find it and if you respect the word began. Because that word in the question stem means you look back to the past. The current situation with Crimsworth is not good, but the question asking about beginning time means you look to an early time. That's what's controlling this answer. As far as other things, A, harmless rival, not good, because at the beginning, there's no indication of rivalry. Perceptive judge, the boss never lauds Crimsworth's judgment. And finally, demanding mentor, we don't get any sense of the demands or lack of demands of Crimsworth at any time. We hope this has been helpful. Scrutiny matters. It gets you points on the SAT. And on behalf of Ivy-bound teachers, we're all here to help if you need it.